What's up, everybody? We are back. We got another live stream. I'm here with my friend Will, who is over across the pond, hence the early afternoon time here in the States, but we're making it work so we can get a nice a time for lots of different people to be able to come watch. So first and foremost, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to come here and talk to me about some nerdy stuff, and I'm sure we'll get into a bunch. But yeah, this is awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to be hanging out and it not just be quite as chaotic as the D&D stream was.
The D&D stream was chaotic. It was fun, but it was
great.
It was all over the place.
Yeah, just Brian with his constant supply of food was just completely great.
Oh man, we do really need to try to get another one of those lined up. That was super fun, man.
100%.
Super fun.
Yeah, that was how I was spending part of my day today anyways, was doing D&D.
Oh yeah? That's cool. Were you playing or DMing?
Oh no, I never play. I'm a terrible D&D
player.
player.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you speak to like anyone who's spent any time DMing, they will have like specific traits that they dislike players to have. So like whether it's someone who's a bit of a spotlight hog or someone who second guesses DM decisions, that sort of thing. I have every single one of those bad traits.
Okay.
I can hear myself doing it when I'm in a game, and I'm like, shut up, stop, and I'm like, I can't.
That's so funny.
So I'm one of nature's DMs. I'm not built to play. I enjoy playing, but like I wouldn't wish me on any table. I'm a problem.
So how did you learn how to DM then? Was it just from playing and then you moved into that, or did you like specifically have the goal to learn how to DM?
So like a lot of people who've gotten into 5th edition D&D later on, I started off with watching the Critical Role live streams back when it was on Geek and Sundry. And I was just watching it and I was just always blown away by everything that Matt Mercer was doing. And then I was like, okay, I want to do this. Because it's everything that I love. It's fantasy. It's storytelling. It's hanging out with your buddies and having far too much soda and everything else you can shove in your face. So I figured this seems ideal for me. So I just started consuming every single piece of media I could find on how to DM, and I found Matt Colville. His YouTube channel has these like borderline lecture length videos on how to DM, and he breaks it down so brilliantly. I mean, he's got one video on I think it's called like Let's Make a Dungeon, and over the course of the video he breaks down how to make an adventure, and step by step, and it's really well done. It's even got a riddle in it.
How about that? Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And it was just the oh, hey Sean.
That's funny.
Yeah,
from the
other Sean.
Yeah. And we got Slay here. What's up, Slay? Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, hey Slay. Hey, thanks. I'm great. Nice. Yeah, and then it was just a case of like, as always, it's finding the group of people to play. But I was in the reverse position of most people. Most people, it's like, oh, I wish we could find someone to DM for us. Whereas I was in a, hey, I've done this thing. Come roll dice and put on a silly voice, Yeah. Yeah, it was and then my first campaign lasted it must have been like a year and a half.
Wow, really?
We had a friend in Canada who I met online. She used to basically like over a webcam play.
Yeah,
because it was a home game with like tabletop miniatures and stuff. So we would have like a webcam set up. We called it Katie Cam because it was just a webcam stuck on a stick that would point at the table. It was the jankiest setup in the world.
I know how that goes. I'm part of a game that we play once a month. That it's exactly like that. A lot of them are in actually that's not true. They're kind of all over the place now. But the DM does that exact. They have the 3D dungeon set up, and they got the minis, and they got all the stuff with the phone that's pointed at it, and then everyone else just gets on Zoom. And it's super fun. The time zone difference gets me, man. Like to accommodate everybody, it means we've typically started at 9 p.m. my time, which is usually when I go to sleep. So
Yeah,
it
I'm
those
the
are late
same. I'm
nights.
the same. I live in old man time. I'm up at 6 every day. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock.
Yep. That's how it goes. That's
Did
what
you
you
say
got to do.
is it like actual like 3D terrain as well?
No, they have. It's just a flat, like the ground, I guess so to speak, is flat, but then
Yeah,
they'll
like
have
black
like
map.
3D like walls that they'll build the tunnels and then they'll physically move the minis through the tunnels, and it's cool. It's definitely cool.
I did. I once, like, just one time, put loads of effort in to make like a huge. It was like, I think it was a Temple of Lolth. So you've read plenty
Okay.
of Drizzt and that, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming
yeah.
you know about like the Drow stuff, right?
Sure.
So I had built this massive Temple of Lolth, and like I'm 6'2". If I laid down, this thing was bigger than me. It was huge, and so I had it all planned out, and it was the big final confrontation. And one of my players, my best friend Sam, it was his character's like big confrontation against, hey Bobby, against like the guy who wronged his character, and he just did like the Inigo Montoya thing. He just walks on up to him, tells him who his character's name is, says, "And you're gonna die," and he pulls out. I had done the same mistake as so many DMs have done before me. They had a portable hole and they had a bag of holding. And if you put a portable hole inside a bag of holding, or vice versa, it just creates basically like a black hole. It's just like a D&D instant bomb goes off, takes out everything, and I'm like, that's such an insane amount of damage. There's no way he survived it. There's no save. There's just instant death. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, like, I say to Sam, like, you know this kills Forrest, and he's like, yeah, it kills Forrest, but it kills that guy, and I hate that guy. I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. I spent hours on this. Thanks.
Oh, it's so disappointing. I mean, like, it's cool, but like,
yeah. But it's one of those things with D&D though, where it's like you've got the DM planning as much as they can plan. You've got the dice adding that element of chaos, and then you've got your players. And man, there is no way to know what crazy stuff someone's going to come up with.
Yeah,
I mean, even in.
I was gonna say, even in ours, like we did some weird. I don't even remember, like weird. What was the hand? We like sewed the hands together into a purse or something.
Dude,
to like
that
carry
was
something.
That was you. There was no we.
Was that me? It was. That's right. It was me. Oh, geez, yeah.
Lord Shroud getting himself an elven hand clutch purse. That was so good. That was classic D&D though. That was like, oh, we need to solve this problem. All right, well, here's a disgusting solution. Perfect, it worked. Like, you know, oh man. And you think, like, at some point, like, you know, like there's the, you know, you like when someone's died, you've got the two stage rigor mortis. You've got the early rigor mortis, then it relaxes, and then you got the second stage rigor mortis. At some point, Lord Shroud's those fingers are just gonna open up, and then what happen? You know?
Yeah. Well, he didn't think that all the way through. He thought he had the perfect solution.
Did nothing about any of that adventure was super well thought through.
It was so fun though. Yes.
Oh god,
indeed.
yeah. I can't wait for
friendly neighborhood edge.
Yeah,
we gotta try to make that happen.
100%. I definitely want to do it. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, I said at the end of the stream that everyone can level up their characters as well, so it'd be level 4 going into the next one as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should. I know around the holidays everything was just so crazy, but now that we're kind of past it,
you know, everyone's traveling and doing everything, and you know, obviously John had to go to the what's Sanderson's big con called?
Dragonsteel.
Yeah, he had to go to that and have an amazing time, and meet all the other nerdy people from the internet, play with swords.
Pretty fun. Pretty fun. I get to play with swords next month. We're going to the Ren Fair.
Oh, sweet.
Where we're going on Viking weekend, so that's pretty sick. I'll be Viking.
Yeah, I've just started Shadow of the Gods, so I'd be very much into that right now.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Well, talk to me about that. Like, how far into it are you? Is this your first John Gwynn also?
This is my first John Gwynn, yeah, because I wanted I've been wanting to get into him for ages. Basically, I started doing Audible because I wanted to. I'd heard that the narrators for Brandon Sanderson that Brandon Sanderson used were really, really good, and I was like, okay, this can be my, getting into Sanderson bit. And I kept seeing the cover for Shadow of the Gods coming up, and I was like, oh, I need that tiny little person, huge dragon. I'm like, oh, I need to check this out. And then the fact that it's so like on theme with Viking stuff, like me and my wife's honeymoon was to Iceland, so like all of the names and everything, that doesn't even seem out of place to me at the moment. Plus I got the haircut, so
exactly right.
I feel like I've even got a sax next to me as well, which is kind of ideal.
There you go. I love that you just have that right next to your computer. That's great.
Well, I've also got. Hang on, I'm gonna grab this. I've also got a what can I do without making a mess? Also got that.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, so that was my dad's one, but yeah, that's like very much
cool.
the like Saxon style Norse-ish helmet.
You gotta start doing the Viking reenactments like Gwyn does.
Well, I used to do Boha, the full contact fighting one.
Oh, really? That's super cool.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. Annoyingly, I didn't stick at it long enough to have like a bunch of fights or anything. But the training was amazing. I wish I'd done more of it, dude. It's crazy. It takes like a certain type of like aggression that I feel like all of us have got that. Like, I would love to hit someone with an axe. Actually doing it to someone and them being totally fine, like it's not a crime. They're totally okay. No one's injured, but you've just full on like whacked someone in the face with an axe. It is dope. It's so cool.
That sounds.
I mean, I gotta
see if there's anything like that
so big
near
in
me.
America.
Yeah,
dude, it is really big in America. Like, I think there was I think there was a championship in Mexico last year or so, and I think America like brought home gold in like every event.
Oh, wow.
Really. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Because it was one of those weird. I mean, one look at it and it definitely started in somewhere like Russia. It is Russian, I think, originally.
Okay.
But the way that worked, the way that the rules were I was part of the UK Federation, and the rules for them were you can't if someone's like bent over 90 degrees, you can't like try and hack them with a sword and stuff on their head and neck and stuff because you might kill them. And you're not allowed to stab, and the swords are all blunted at the tip. Mm-hmm. But it's like that's pretty much it. Like, there's restrictions to like sword weight and that sort of thing, but it's and it's all like mostly historically accurate kit. Like, you like the brigandines and that. Like my brigandine's mild steel and it weighs way too much, but most people have them made of sprung steel, so if it gets hit, it's actually going to spring back.
Yeah,
my mild steel one did not do that. If I got hit, it just went in. It sucks.
Oh. Well, then I think you're gonna really love his books then, because like all of his reenacting, he like puts all that knowledge into the fight scenes and when they're putting their armor on, and like it's got such like an authentic feel that'll be really like, for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, I can imagine that's what it's really like. But for you, like, you'll have even more experience.
Well, when he says, one of the things that I love that John Gwynn does, he mentions it every time. Every time someone's putting their bringe on, every time they've got their chainmail on, they mention the fact that then they put the belt on and the belt takes the weight off of it. So the reason for that is because it puts some of the weight on your hips.
Yeah.
So you've got this long garment made of like just pure metal, and then as soon as you cinch it around your waist, your hips are then taking some of the weight from it as well. So it makes it so that you can move around a lot easier. And just from that, like as soon as I heard that, 'cause I'm doing an audiobook for it, I was like, oh no, this is in there. This is like really, like really into it. Yeah, I was like, absolutely love it. I don't want to say like how like what's happened to let you know like how far into it I am, but I'm still like quite in the beginning. Okay. I love Orca. Mm-hmm. Orca's amazing. My wife is going to absolutely love Orca as well. Yeah. Like my wife's favorite character in fiction is the Bloody Nine, and I'm like,
okay, female Bloody Nine. Okay,
right? Yeah, it's like okay. Plus,
awesome.
Like at the start with her and her little family, it's like, oh, this is really wholesome, but this is a fantasy book something horrible will happen. I know. We don't get happy beginnings for long.
Yeah. That's. I want to circle back to this, but I want to get to Slay's question here too. It's a good question for you. So, is 5e your favorite edition? What do you think of AD&D 2? I don't even know what that is.
Dude, Slay, you are 100% right. 5e is terrible for more grimdark elements past level 6 or 7. I'd agree with you. Basically, too many of the spells and class abilities start making it so that there's not a ton of consequences. There's stuff that you can do to it to make it so that it's less. Oh, you got hit in the face with an axe. Yeah, you'll be fine. You can one of the in the Dungeon Master's Guide, the original one, not the updated one, but it straight up has like a different version of playing where a long rest is a week and a short rest is an entire day. Like a short rest is your overnight one, and if you ever have the opportunity, even just to run a 2 or 3 session mini campaign with the rule set, it is amazing. Like warlocks are so damn powerful in that one because it's like, yeah, you've only got like, you've only got 3 or 4 spells a day. Okay, wizard. Well, how many spells have you got? Oh, you used them all day one. Mine are back. Like it's and it really that distinction between like what rest times get you what suddenly becomes really important. I haven't played AD&D. I haven't played it. I've seen a bunch of videos talking about AD&D combat being better, but I don't know much about it. I've played 3.5 and I loved their character sheet, but I hated leveling up on it. Like 3.5 leveling up is so complicated, but like you'll gain a level. And me and my wife's friend Callum was our DM for it, and he'd tell us that we'd gained a level, and then I can't imagine how much this must have like hurt him to be like, you've leveled up, and us go like, yay, and then we realize that means we actually have to sit there and level up. It's like, it's maths. Come on, I don't want to sit here and do maths.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 5e is my favorite edition, but I think 5e is my favorite edition, but I think that past like level 7, level 8, it starts getting a bit broken. But it's just a different kind of storytelling. You're right, it's not great for grimdark, but like if you want to do a more Avengers style big stakes campaign, then I think it's better for that. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm trying to think if there's I don't know for grimdark storytelling though. It's like you almost want like something that's more something. I don't know. You'd need something that's like still quite quick paced as far as combat goes, and you almost want more repercussions than you have like abilities and that. Like you almost want it to be like you start here and you want it to like really grind your characters down. I don't know. I could probably talk for an hour about this and then try and sit down and make up my own system for it.
Yeah, you go.
Which I regularly do.
This is so much.
Yeah.
This is
I'm like,
I don't even know what this means.
I hate that grimdark subclasses are super underpowered. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's that. I still find that hilarious. By the way, my at-home D&D game had the exact same party and class makeup as our BookTube one.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying
like,
that.
All of it, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, but yeah. What about just go tracking back off of the D&D stuff? But what's your what is it you're reading at the moment?
I am first really quick. Hi Vera, thank you for showing up. Appreciate it.
Vera.
Hope you're doing good. So I am reading. Oops. Oh, hello, Graham. Thank you for showing up. Man, we got a bunch of people showing up right now. What's up? Lag isn't bad. Lag doesn't seem bad to me. Okay, I am reading Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wirtz.
Nice.
I have the book somewhere, but it's really weird to grab it because I have a very janky setup that it looks nice on camera, but it's chaos if you were to see what my room looks like. I
kind of do want to see because I not to I'm not, but obviously I watched the your other show that you've got your bodybuilding focus one, yeah, and that one it's like you've got like professional Jake and then this one is just like cozy book thing, you know.
You gotta have a different vibe, you know.
100%.
Yeah, target the audience.
Yeah, pure purple.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, dude, Janie Wertz, her books are just unbelievable. Like I can't. It's like John from Talking Story was talking about it. His last weekly reader, he was saying how he said the best word he could come up with for the prose is like transportive or something, like it just like you're immediately in a different universe. Like just the words on the page put you there immediately. And I'm like, I can't argue with that at all. It's like you can read a whole chapter, and these chapters are long. Like it takes me an hour to read a chapter, basically. Like they're pretty, and they're like 30 pages. It's just.
But you like, I mean, you like
slow.
your complex.
I do.
But you like your complex books though. I mean, like whenever I've heard you talk about like Malazan, it's like you are straight up like, I like to sit there with a notepad with it. Why? Because I enjoy that.
It's fun.
You know?
It's
I like that. Like
I don't call myself a nerd for no reason, guys.
Dude, honestly, like when I first saw like the channel name Nerd Level Rising, I thought like, oh, he's trying to become nerdier. It's like, no, he's raising the rest of us to his level.
You know? I am the king of nerds, and you all must catch up.
I need to read some Janie Wertz because like my wife, I mean, we watched your stream with her while on our honeymoon in Iceland because it was Janie Wertz. My wife was like, me and my wife were in bed in our hotel in Iceland in Reykjavik, and I say, oh, Jake's got his stream with Janie Wertz, so I'm going to check it out for a bit, and then Sean's just like, oh, Janie Wertz. Oh, she wrote her favorite female character ever is Mara from, I cannot remember, I'm sure she'll say in the chat in a minute.
Was it the Feist books?
Like, yes, it was. Yes, yeah. There's my wife. Oh, dude, seriously, it was listening to her talk about writing was just. I mean, I think I messaged you straight afterwards and just said like, I want to write right now. Like I watched it again when we got back just to amp myself back up for writing. It was like,
yeah, man, it's unbelievable. Dude. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like I still, like, even just thinking about, and this sounds so. It sounds like we're exaggerating, right? That I'm like, I kind of get chills just thinking about what that conversation was like. But I'm being dead serious. Like it just felt like this like wizard just imparting this knowledge and wisdom. Like it was unreal.
And it's also like she is literally the voice of experience. Yeah, you know. Yeah. Like she's like, oh, have you worked with Raven E. Fights? It's like, what?
Yeah, she what was this in? I think this was during she was in the chat for a second during our spoiler stream for Wind and Truth. And
yeah, she's in the chat constantly. Like honestly, if it wasn't for the time zone difference, I'd be like, what she's popping up.
You know what else happens? I always forget to like post about these things on Twitter. So I think like usually that's where she sees things a lot of times too, I think. And I'm like, I always forget. But anyway, so she was in there for a second and she was mentioning how she read the original outline and script for a Game of Thrones to give a cover blurb. And I was like, what? Like like she's been here, done that, mastered everything. It's crazy.
Like I always think like whenever, because obviously George R. R. Martin, he seems to be quite open and quite happy to put his name to stuff. And like if he's read a book and he's liked it, he's quite happy to be like, oh yeah. Put me I really like this book. It's great, you know.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she's done like that for George is so cool. And also, like I'm not like my own writing style, I would say, I don't know, quintessentially British. Like I've got that like sort of smirking humor with it.
Oh, what's up? Best dungeon master of all time. And then just me over here. I just read books. Oh, I'm gonna wear that as a badge of honor from now on. As you should.
100%. But yeah, like my own writing style, like I definitely come from like the Terry Pratchett, Joe Abercrombie, cheeky, chappy, sort of very character driven, add a bit of humor to it, sort of thing. But I have no idea if my prose is good. I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know until about probably not even a year ago what that word meant. I kept I'd be watching I'd be watching a Daniel Green video and he'd be like, oh, the prose is this. And I'm like, what is that word? And why is the grammar around it so weird? Prose is?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's true. That is weird.
It's surreal. Abercrombie is the literal cornerstone of my marriage with my wife. It was the first book that she ever lent me, other than Sabriel, which she might cut me if I don't eventually read. But it's true. I live in fear.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my wife lent me First Law, and I read it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I want more of this. Read every single one of the books set in the First Law universe now, and it left me wanting to. You back up. We're okay. She's married. She has great.
She's
Yeah. Do you know what?
taken.
No. Yeah. I agree with that second one. Yeah. Great taste in husbands. What? But should we just leave these two to it? Like,
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, like it was like I read his work and I was like, oh, this is so much fun, and I straight up decided to start writing again and taking it more seriously off of the back of that. Yeah, like genuinely, like I know, like in interviews, Joe Abercrombie has said like he wouldn't have started writing if it wasn't for him reading Game of Thrones, and like genuinely, I don't think I would be at the point I'm at now with my writing if it wasn't for Joe Abercrombie and his work, and obviously having an incredible, encouraging wife.
Yeah.
Who luckily likes incredibly violent stories that are character driven, which is that's what I'm into. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segue, because I do want to make sure, and I made like your Instagram is like linked in the description of the video and all that, because I want people to know where to find updates and stuff for your writing.
Or just search the Will McWriter Goblin. That'll get it to me as well.
Search that up too.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your writing a little bit, dude. Like you mentioned starting, after, everything that you just kind of went through, but how long ago was that? How long you've been working on? Like, did you try to start off with some smaller stuff and then work your way towards like a novel, or did you just dive in the deep end? What's going on?
So I started taking it seriously, like actually being like, right, I want to actually try and write a novel, during COVID. So the first like real attempt I made at it, like I've been writing since I was a kid, but that was always just for fun or, sad boy time, or just to get my dad to pay a bit of attention to me, kind of deal. Is what it is. But like, so I my over COVID, I was just going a bit stir crazy anyway. So I started writing a grimdark story, and I think I got to like 40 or 50,000 words into it, and then I just stopped. Like I didn't get writer's block. I just kind of went and drifted off from it. And then I kept having this idea of like a sort of a grizzled veteran character sitting in a prison cell talking to someone that no one else could see.
Okay,
and
that's
just
cool.
It wouldn't leave my head, and I was like, well, who the hell is he talking to? What is this? And then I just went, right, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to write that out. I'm just going to write this scene out. And it's like, well, as soon as you start doing that, and like I'm a discovery writer. I mean, the whole goblin part of my name and the joke is that's the goblin side of my brain. That's just the feral bit that just runs through the story. So I started writing the scene, and once you start writing that, once you've got him sat in a cell, well, whose cell is it? Why is he in there? What else is around? What's happening? So suddenly he's sat in a cell. It's during a siege. There's other people around in this dungeon. They're there because they're mercenaries or soldiers that have been captured during this confrontation. He isn't, though. He's there because he's murdered someone. And then suddenly the first chapter of my big story, Red Stars of Madness, just pours out of me. And then I'm like, I finish that chapter and I'm like, well, what else is going on in the world? And I come up with this character Lucas, and then I come up with this character Andy, and I write a chapter for her eventually. And then I actually I cut that character completely. I one of the downsides of being like a Discovery style writer, a Pantser or a Gardner style writer, as George R.R. Martin calls it, is you will go down routes that go nowhere. Like you'll take a right when you should have taken a left, and you don't know it until you hit that dead end. And sometimes it's like you're a couple paragraphs in, sometimes it's a couple pages in. In this case, it was like 3 chapters in, and I just went, too much effort, gone. I just cut her from the story.
All right, yeah.
And then and like I felt bad about it because I love Andy. Like I've got character art of her staring at me right here, and I've got like so I carried on the story without her, and it's like it's the classic like fantasy trope of like you've got this character, and this character, and eventually their paths are going to cross, but they don't at first. So it wasn't like to the detriment of those guys' story that I'd cut her. And then my wife read Lies of Lochlamora, and she, because that's all like thief themed and that sort of thing, and Andy is like the thief sneaky character in my story. And my wife was like, yeah, you need to add her back. And I'm like, we're on this walk, and I'm like, I mean, it's my story. I mean, I don't have to. And she's just like, yeah, but you should add her back. She was really good. I'm like, oh okay. So because like I'm writing this story for me, but also I'm writing it because my wife loves fantasy. She loves grimdark fantasy, and it's like, if you can create something that you enjoy making and that your spouse enjoys, you can be like, hey, look at this thing, and they won't begrudge it.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it comes a point when you first start writing. Hey, Samwise, when you first start writing, like your first audience is whoever will tolerate reading your stuff.
Sure, I can imagine. Yeah.
So like
That's cool.
my wife's read all of it, but I'm really glad she convinced me to put Andy back in, because man, she's taken some twists. Yeah,
So I want to talk about that a little bit more, because I think a lot of people, anyone who's done anything creative, right? Like there's always that fear of showing other people. Some people have it less than others. Some people are just really excited to share. Some people are very scared and shy.
I'm both.
And yeah, okay, well that's even more interesting then, because I was going to say, like, how was that? How did that go, basically, right? Like, she's obviously really interested in the genre and that stuff anyway, which helps. I can only imagine somebody who their partner just couldn't care less about this thing, and you're like, baby, please tell me what you think, and they're like, I don't like it, but
yeah, and it's like I've got I've got ADHD as well, so it's like the whole rejection sensitivity thing would rear its head, and I feel like I'd be crying in a corner in no time if she was just like, no, I don't care. Man, I feel like because me and my wife have such massively similar tastes when it comes to fiction. Like our sense of humor is really similar. We both love really dramatic, violent scenes. So it's like if I've written something like that, or if I've written a story that has stuff like that, she's into it. She's guaranteed to be into it and stuff. So I've never felt shy about showing her something. But when it came to like my short stories that I chuck on like my Instagram page, those I'm like, every single time I'm like, oh, if this sucks, it's and it's I mean, you'll I'm sure you know this from having your own social media stuff. Like you put something out there and you're like, oh, I hope it does well. If it doesn't do well, it's like you can't message people like, hey, why didn't you like this one?
Yeah, I have learned the post it and then just completely ignore. And if there's comments, respond to comments, right? But try not to look at it. Try not to think about it. That helps me
engage with the people who are engaging with it, but don't be like, please.
Yeah, and try to think about it like I did my job, right? Like I created the thing and I put it out in the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna step back and like not hyperanalyze it.
Yeah, and there's also like, so you said like about showing it to people and not having the fear of it, of the fear of showing it.
Yeah.
And I think, man, part of it's just having my favorite word here, having the audacity to just be like, I've done this thing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's totally fine. And I mean, like me and you both like metal music. We could take the most diehard, I hate metal to my bones person, and you could take them and you could put them in like front row seat and have Meshuggah play live for them. You know, they're just there. You've got Bleed playing live, and this person's just like,
yeah.
what? No, you know. Then they're gonna be like, this is not music. This is not enjoyable. People who like this are crazy, and you're gonna be like, yes, but this is actually one of the most impressive songs in the entire genre. So there's also that whole, like, if you've made it and you're proud of it and you're happy with it and you put it out there, even if it isn't liked instantly, even if it is rejected, it's like, well, maybe you just weren't the intended audience, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
Or I'm rambling on crazy. Yeah. Actually, and if you wanted to be like mildly offensive about it, you'd be like, yeah, but you know, you don't like this, but that's fine. There's also Justin Bieber fans, so taste is completely subjective and wrong. Some people are wrong about stuff. I'm wrong about stuff. Other people are wrong about stuff.
You can have bad taste. It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong about stuff.
Bieber catching straight. I actually don't think I've ever, like, I've heard like a random clip of a song, but I've never actually listened to his music. I have no idea if it's.
It'll be Bleed. I guarantee you, the clip. If you've heard a clip from Meshuggah, it will be Bleed.
Oh, sorry. I mean, Justin Bieber. I just don't want to like. Throw shade
no, I haven't
I've
either.
never heard.
No, I've
Bleed
heard.
Is cool.
No, I feel like the one song of his that I've heard is that Baby song. Where it's baby.
Yeah.
My reaction to that is the same as a Justin Bieber fan's reaction would be to like all the music that I love, and it's fine. Both opinions are right. You know, in matters of taste, in matters of taste, the customer is always right. If you're the one consuming it and you don't like it, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Facts.
But yeah.
Facts. So we're in COVID. We start working on this book. We kind of just go deeper and deeper. We're doing our thing. That was like 4 or 5 years ago, man. So like, what has the process been like of? Because it's so like the classic story you hear, right? Is somebody starts and then they want to go back and revise the first chapter, and then they go back and revise it again and then again. So like, did you fall into that trap, or was it like?
So the one that I started over COVID, I still haven't gone back to. I'd love to go back to it at some point.
Oh, that's right. Separate. Yeah.
But the one that I started probably around this time last year. No, was it January? It was definitely last year, but it wasn't. I kind of want to check that. But the one that I started, that's now my enormous one, my girthy tome, as I call it online, because it makes me giggle.
Yeah.
I started that one. Oh, there you go. I started that one 17th of December 2022. So not quite. So much more recent than I thought. I had a big break from it when I started my first university modules as well. But essentially, I'd go into it, and exactly like you said, I'd write my first chapter, and then I'd go like, I don't like that, change it. I don't like that, change it. And I did get into the habit of that for a little while. And then I realized that if I keep doing that, I'm never going to write anymore. So I had a post-it note on my screen, which I've since gotten rid of because it's just drilled into my head, that said, sketch, don't paint. So my rule was, you're like this, isn't it? Because you
like that a lot.
You were an artist, weren't you? Yeah. So basically, it was just a note to myself that once I started writing, I wasn't allowed to edit. So when I first opened up the document, I was allowed to look back at it, because it's if you've had like 3 or 4 days where you haven't read what you last wrote, you might forget where you'd written to, you might forget something important. So I'd go back and I'd read stuff, and I'd make sure it was right. I'd correct spelling because my spelling's horrendous, my grammar's horrendous. And then I'd go like, okay, cool, I'm back to where I was. Bah, 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 bah. And it was always sketch, don't paint. You're allowed to make spelling mistakes, who cares? You're allowed to make grammar mistakes, who cares? Catch it in post. That's a later problem. But for that first draft, especially when you're like a pantser style writer, you need to just go with the energy. You need to just keep going with it, and then later on you can revise it. But because of that, my speed crept up like a huge amount as soon as I adopted that mindset. I went from writing, 500-600 words or whatever per session, because I was so like pernickety, to suddenly 2,000 words is completely achievable. which actually I think that was how I started my Instagram page, was because I sort of wanted to have a log of how
Yeah.
how it was going. My first post on my Instagram page is me. So my first post on my Instagram page is my phone balanced on my belly as I type the final words up to 100,000 words in that document.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's almost all me just putting screenshots of what I'd written that day, how many words it was, and then I'd do a little recap on how I felt about how the writing session had gone. And this is going to sound so dumb to so many people, but I'm a big believer in you take inspiration and ideas from wherever you can find them.
Mhm.
I got the idea from watching Buff Dude's videos on YouTube.
Yeah, let's go.
Like one of the things that was so drilled into me from those videos was, if you log your progress, you can see your progress. You cannot necessarily see, like, whether you're trying to do something to change your body image, whether you're trying to do something on a Word document, having, oh, I have written this many words today, that's so amorphous. But having an actual record of, I've written this many, and then you can scroll down and you can see how many you did the last time.
Yeah.
Not only can you then look back at it and be like, oh, I've slowed down since then, what was different? But you've also got this, like, oh yeah, momentum building. Yeah, I can keep going. Keep going, you know? And it's like, on a day where you get 300 words, you can go to yourself, okay, well, I was tired. It was after work. I had to get dinner on for the kids, but I still got 300 words. That's still progress. You know, progress is progress. I'm still churning forward, you know? And it's just that whole, yeah, literally, like, the whole Instagram thing for me spawned out of me wanting to log how many words I'd done each writing session.
Yeah.
And it's
I love it.
It's so dopey though. Origin story of that is so dumb, and I love it.
That's good. I think it's great. Also, really quick, speaking of someone else who's putting out a book, Abel is here.
Oh, hey, Abel!
The book cover is amazing.
It's absolutely dope. I was actually in the chat for Bearded Book Beast with him a minute ago.
Nice. That's awesome. I saw the notification popped up and I wanted to get in there, but I was like, I gotta get, like I told you before we started recording, like I am swamped right now. So I was like, okay, let me try and get just a little more work done.
How you're doing everything you're doing. Yeah, no, it was very cool. And I loved Abel's attitude when he was, one of the things he was talking about with Chris was like talking about the community, like not just like the Bookstagram community, but also like, I don't know what it is about fantasy nerds, but we are weirdly wholesome.
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, like, you look at, like, okay, so metal again is like a perfect example of this. Like, metalheads don't like each other until after a certain age. Like, they're so like whiny about genre and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Like, oh, you listen to that sucks. Oh, it's like, shut up, it's all metal. In fantasy, it feels like everyone does that. Like, it feels like everyone is just so chill. I mean, I've got all my friends that I've met through Instagram, yourself, John Triple B, my buddy John Franz, EM Peck. But like, on top of that, I've also got like, I've joined the British Fantasy Society. They're all lovely. Big fan of those guys. I've just joined the Sword and Sorcery magazines Discord. Again, all friendly, all really nice.
Yeah.
Why?
It's like we spend our free time like reading about war and like death and all these horrible things. And I mean, there's some great things in there too, don't get me wrong, but you're right, it's weirdly wholesome and everyone's just so sweet and welcoming and
it's like, what did you read today? I was just reading, they said Dracarys, and just this guy got his face utterly melted by like this tiny dragon, and it's like, why is this conversation cute though? It shouldn't be. What is going on?
Yeah, the community's so great, dude. I don't know. It's I feel like I say this all the time. It's like, it's legitimately like, this is one of the best decisions I've made in my life, is starting to talk about books on the internet with people. Like, I've made friends. I've like, it's just such a boost to like my general mental health on a day-to-day basis, even if I'm not doing a video with somebody or like, it's crazy, man. Yeah,
it's also
all
like
people are nice.
Yeah, I agree. Every single one that I've interacted with has been so lovely. I tell you, one of the funniest things I had though was so I got you know you got sent Scion by Evan Peck, right?
Yeah, it's on my. It's too far
Yeah,
away to grab it, but yeah, I
yeah.
love that book cover.
So
By the way, it's
Evan,
awesome.
oh dude, it's this little dude that I love the most. This is
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
That's such a cool idea. Evan went
It is.
so hard with the extras.
Yeah, it's
But
super cool.
so like I connected with Evan really early on into me doing this Instagram thing, and he sent me like a copy of Scion just to say thank you and all that sort of thing. Absolutely really sweet. And then I did like an unboxing thing, and
Yeah.
our friend John Franz messaged me about it, and I messaged him back saying I feel like I'm cosplaying as a bookstagrammer, and he was just like, "What do you mean cosplaying?" Like it hadn't actually occurred to me that I am one. Like
Yeah.
when on the your chat that you did with Triple B, where you guys were talking about the idea for the fantasy anthology with all the booktubers and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I commented on it saying, "Oh, can I get in on that as well?" And he was like, "Oh, you are like a bookster influencer," and I was just like, "I'm an influencer? What?
Oh man. Oh. You guys get on. Well, I was gonna say you better get on
Oh,
TikTok, but you guys still have TikTok over there? They're about to ban it over here, I guess.
probably, but I don't. I'm 35 years old. What do I want TikTok?"
I've never even downloaded that. I'm just like I don't. It's hard enough to keep up with like Instagram.
Dude,
That's plenty,
I'm
right?
so bad at doom scrolling. I'm so bad at doom scrolling. I have like I have so much stuff on my phone that I could be doing instead, but I will just.
It's dangerous, man.
Like,
It is.
I'm such a slow reader as well. Like I could pick up a book and actually start chugging through like pages, but I just phone's bad.
Phone's bad. That's
Kind of
how it goes.
depressing.
So, all right. So let's keep going through the story here, right? So we're doing our sketch don't paint, which I love that so much. That's like one of my favorite little.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna write that down. It reminds me of like when Abercrombie talks about your first draft is just throwing sand in the sandbox, and then you'll go back and put it together later. You can go play in it later, right? You got to get the raw materials there first. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like I can have a direction that I want the story to go into. But I am that much of a pantser that I will, if I write like I want these 4 things to happen in this chapter, I'm gonna do it. Like 100%.
Okay,
if I write it down, like if I write it down as like an outline, I'm gonna ignore it. Like my brain will be like, shut up, that's not real. Like immediately I will diverge from that. And I find it so interesting that is, it turns, I mean, 200,000 words later, clearly that is a viable way to write. Surprising, but that's how George did it as well. Like George,
that blows my mind.
I love how he puts it as well. I love that he doesn't say pantser. I would love to use his term gardener more, but people just don't know it. But he terms it gardener rather than he describes it as gardeners and architects. Your architect, you've got your plan, you're going to follow your blueprint. Your gardener, you throw a bunch of seeds in and you can cultivate it and you can prune it, but you can't. It's going to grow how it grows, and that's absolutely how I write. Absolutely. I mean, all of the shorts that I've put up on Instagram. I've gone off topic again. I'm so sorry, but all of the shorts that I've posted on Instagram, that's basically just me doing stream of consciousness. I've not, other than having like a prompt from like the people who follow me every now and then. Other than that, I don't have a direction it's going to go in. It's just word vomit on the keyboard and polish it up afterwards. And
there you go.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah,
and you've by doing the gardening, right? Like, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
All I was going to say was, sorry. Okay. All I was going to say was, I genuinely believe that me getting better at doing that style of writing ties directly into me DMing so much. Because
I wanted to connect those two.
You can have as much as you want planned out, your players are going to look at that tower of blocks and just kick it over straight away.
Yeah.
Whether it's Snacky Jason or if it's Chance hearing the voices,
Yeah, exactly. That is that's so I think it'd be super fun to learn how to DM, but that is my fear, is that like to me like the outlining in the architect, like that's how my brain works. And then I have that like, oh no, like am I going to be able to improv and think on my feet enough to not just like stop the game and be like, wait, let me like brainstorm some stuff and think about how that connects to this.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? Like that's lame.
Yeah.
But that's cool that it just like you found that good setup for yourself.
I think with just to stick on the DMing side of it for a sec, with the style of DMing that you just said about, like that, all that says to me is that you'll be really, really good at dungeons, like that, like open world and stuff. Maybe not so much, because that's so open that your players are going to have such a massive variety of choices that they can just kind of cause a little bit too much chaos, and you could end up feeling overwhelmed by it. But if you have it so that, you're going to love this. You're going to absolutely love this. If you have it Naruto style, so that you've got, like when I think it's like when they've graduated and they're going out and they're doing like the specific little missions. That, if you've got that, like, it's rather than it just being like a big free form campaign, if it's instead you've got these specific like these specific quests that you're going on and doing these sorts of things, that's gonna narrow it down to the point where you'll hopefully feel more comfortable in running those sessions, because you can detail out so much stuff that way. You can have like, I know what's in this house, I know who this person is. It's gonna like really minimize the amount of sudden rapid adaptation that you're going to have to do, and instead you can have, let me pull that up on my Excel sheet of NPCs in this thing, because that way they're going to catch you unprepared for some stuff, but that's where some of the fun's going to come from, rather than the sudden like panic and overwhelm instead.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I keep going off on that. Don't
I love
people with ADHD. There you go.
No, I love it, man. Like that's why I don't pre-plan any. Like I didn't write any questions down. I'm just we're just show up and we're gonna have a good time talking about whatever, and it's gonna be fun.
Luckily, I thrive in chaos, so that's ideal.
There you go. And so when you're doing this writing process, this like gardening process, right? You mentioned where you've had to like, cut this character, and then wife forces you to put it back in. It's like there's been some adjustments, right? But have you found that like some like people like me think about not having an outline, and it's just like, how can I possibly control like the possibility of wasted time of like the anyone who's read Red Rising has heard the story of Pierce Brown throwing out 300 pages of the manuscript or whatever and starting over, and I'm like, that sounds awful. And like, how do I avoid that? So you haven't really had huge issues like that, it sounds like.
I don't know. I mean, when I cut Andy that first time, that was probably 30,000 words. Like that was a big chunk.
That's a big chunk.
Had to spend. I can. I think I actually put on my Instagram, I think I did an update on when I was adding her back in, and then I spent the next few weeks, at least maybe month, just writing her chapters so that they were in line with it, because because I'm apparently an absolute masochist. My whole story takes place over about 4 days. Okay. So 200,000 word story, 4 days. So I need to know what characters are doing what at what time, because it cycles perspective from Hold to Lucas to Andy. So it's going to be the same time of day for each of them. Lucas and Andy are in the same city. So whatever's in the sky, I mean, at the moment it's set during a bit of a drought anyways, in their city. So it's going to be blue skies, but like whatever events are going on there are going to be also going on to some extent in some way in their chapters, and it needs to reflect that. So like I had to spend all that time making sure that it matched up, after cutting all those words and then having to write it back into it, which was fun. Like it should, like on paper, if you said to me, oh, Will, cut like 2/3 of Hold's chapters and rewrite them, I'd have a panic attack right now. But when it's like time to actually sit down and start doing it, I'm gonna be so happy. Like I could rewrite the whole damn book and be like, yeah, it's great. It's not didn't go the same way at all. Who's this guy?
Oh, that's awesome.
Blue beard. What's up with that? Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, that's good that's how your brain reacts to it, right? Like, because then when it comes, I imagine, it's going to come time to do all the revising and everything and polish up
I'm
the
there
book,
now.
right?
I'm in those trenches. Yeah. I'm in those trenches. I'm 2/3 through. So, like I said to you, like the whole sketch don't paint thing. So I gave myself permission. Whenever I'm writing, I give myself permission. Like I can look at the last chapter, and depending on how big the chapter is, chapter before it as well, just to make sure, right, bring myself up to speed on what's happened, check for anything that I'm like, well, that's just crap. Why did I write that? How tired was I at this point? It's that's that sort of thing. So I've done like basic revisions for each time going through it. But the thing is, the early part of the book, I barely had. I felt like when I was doing the second drafting and all the editing and that, I was like, oh, this doesn't need anything. This is really easy. And it was so boring, it hurt. Like it was like so devoid of creativity that I was like, oh, this is terrible. This is how am I going to? I want to pay an editor already, and this is not a stage you pay someone to come and have a look at this at. And then I got to the bit. I basically got to the part where I'd added Andy back into it, and I was like, oh, this is where I started doing sketch don't paint. Now I've got stuff to do. That was as soon as I got to that point, it felt creative again. As soon as it felt creative again, I felt like I was absolutely flying through it and really enjoying it again. Yeah. But awesome. If it doesn't have that spark, I don't want to do it. I really struggle to make myself do it. And the other thing is so difficult is to not get drawn into it. Like I think Janny said about this, like enjoying your own work. Like you're gonna write what you enjoy. So like if I'm reading it, I get drawn into the story. Like I forget I wrote it, which is absolutely mad. And crazy before that. But like when I was doing the first ones, like I kept making myself laugh. Like I'd be reading it and be like, oh, that's really funny. I wrote that. Hey. It's just stupid.
That's good though. Also,
it is. I kept being like, is this arrogant? Is it arrogant to be like cracking up at my own jokes? Is this kind of? But man, yeah, but yeah. So like, getting into like the later part of it where I haven't, gone over it a whole bunch of times, where it is a bit more needs a bit more work done to it, stuff, and it's back to being really fun and really creative, and I cannot wait to get it to a point where I can send it to you and the other 7 people on my list of beta readers.
Nice.
Because I need feedback that isn't just my wife.
Yeah.
Not that I think she lied to me. She's the most horrifically honest person in the world. But like I just need to hear it from someone who isn't legally bound to me.
Right. Other perspectives and stuff is good. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest, dude. Like I'm very excited to try it, but I'm also scared because I'm like I've never done that before, and so I'm hoping that I can be brutally honest.
We spoke about this already, though. That you've already helped.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true.
You have already helped, because one of the things that you said when you were talking about Wind and Truth, one of the things that made me DNF it. That's right, I DNF'd Wind and Truth. Direct to camera, was the overuse of modern language. And I caught that a couple of, nothing huge, nothing enormous, but I caught a couple of things and I was just like, yeah, that's immersion breaking. I don't like that. So I've already like gone in and broke things. So you're now the second booktuber to have done something specific to change my world. The other one is Daniel Green. It's going to sound so stupid. Right when I was first started, when I first started this one, I had just watched the he was doing like a map review. Okay. And he threw so much shade at Abercrombie for not having maps, and I was a big fan of that. And, he was doing the map review, and basically authors kept getting marked down for having a map that was just a western coast.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that is always a thing. Is that just because they want to evoke that, like, like Britain or France coastline and stuff, where it's just like, oh yeah, the West is unexplored? Is it like that Tolkien thing of, you've got the undying lands over there and stuff? And then I was trying to think of, like, well, what would be a more interesting coastline? And then I thought, well, conflict is the most interesting thing in all of fiction. Without it, you haven't got a story. So I just went, well, where has there been loads of conflict? So I just looked at the world's map, looked at the Mediterranean, and went, if I just sort of like shift that like that, then we've got like a mountain range on that side instead of a coastline. I don't have to worry about the west. So I've got.
There you go.
So I basically just took the Mediterranean and shifted it on its side, which
Nice.
I feel like and I will take no criticism from that, because the most popular modern fantasy series is A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. And George R. R. Martin basically just took England and went, well, if we just take Scotland and flip that upside down and make it really big.
There you go. I was going to bring that up. I was like, isn't he basically just doing something pre-existing? Chance stopped by.
Dude.
He said we're muted. We're muted because he's at a panel. He's at MarsCon right now, where Christopher Rocchio is the guest of honor. So what I say, because he gets to meet Christopher and I'm in person and I'm jealous and we're on mute, should we say bad things about Chance? Since he can't hear us.
Yeah, let's just, like, first off, who makes a bard with a giant sword? That's weird. What's wrong with you?
Doesn't make sense.
And also,
doesn't make any
what's
sense.
with the hat? What are you hiding? What are you hiding under there? Is it jealousy? You got some short hair there, Chance? Yeah.
He must be.
I realized I spotted this the other day when you were doing the stream with Triple B. I realized that I look like someone's done a face merge between you and him. Got the long hair and the beard. Like,
whoa, yeah, you're actually spot on.
As soon as I said it, I was just like, oh, we can never do a panel with me in the middle.
Now we have to do that now. You realize. That's did you watch Dragon Ball Z growing up? Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to have me and Chris need to be on either side doing the fusion thing, and you're right in the middle.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll get like you guys will have to wear like an outfit that I've got something similar to, and then I can quickly, as soon as you do that, I'll pop in and just have like half and half in.
Yeah.
Oh man, I loved that when they first were doing the fusion one, and they were like imagining different people fusing, and it was like they did one that was like Krillin and Piccolo, and it was just horrific.
Ew, yeah, that's weird. That's super weird.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z was amazing. I have an ongoing joke that my wife is Vegeta.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why. I can't remember how it's
interesting.
She said something. I think she said something that was like really like ridiculously, I am the best at this, and I was just like, all right, Vegeta, and it just carried on. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. Yeah, okay.
Respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vegeta is my favorite character. He's the best.
I think Vegeta is my favorite like character, but I think that Piccolo did not deserve to be so overshadowed post Cell Saga. Like Piccolo was amazing during the Cell Saga. Yeah. I'm hoping that they're going to do some more interesting things with him moving forward. I don't know if you're current on the recent stuff they've put out, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I watched Resurrection F, and I've watched a chunk of the what's the tournament one with Zeno.
Super?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've watched a chunk of that. I'm really bad at starting something and then like just sort of, all right, that's as far as my brain's going to pay attention to this. I don't know.
I get it.
ADHD, I guess, but
I get it. Yeah. So they did a movie called Superhero, like a year or two ago or something, that has some like maybe there's something interesting. I don't know. Anyway,
I see Dragon Ball Z. You say Dragon Ball Z and you say superhero, and I'm just thinking like, is it the Great Saiyan Man? Like,
if you watch the movie, it does make sense. It's not my favorite.
Oh, okay.
To me, I grew up with Dragon Ball Z, right? That's the thing, right? That's
Same.
always the best. That will always be the best. I don't care what else comes out. It'll always be the best.
Yeah. With that amazing intro, with the best intro in all of anime.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remain open to these newer things, but I just
try not to be that old guy. It's like, why has change happened?
Yeah. But it's like they keep recycling some of these older characters and stuff. And then it's like there's a lot of 3D animation in there. I'm like, I don't know. Give me the hand-drawn stuff. That's always better.
Yeah, hand-drawn is always better, and like surely like all of anime should have learned the lesson of Berserk and been like, we don't do 3D.
Yeah, we just shouldn't. We shouldn't do that.
Oh man, Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you actually.
Okay.
Because of Nerd Level Rising, and then you've also got the training arc.
Yeah.
How much of Dragon Ball Z made you go, right, I'm gonna do this whole bodybuilding thing? Like how? Because
a lot.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, like, what was it? Was it just like Tien during the Cell Saga? Just like, that's shoulders. I want that. It's giant. Yeah.
I mean, kind of like a lot of it was purely just like these dudes look so cool. Like I would love to look like that.
Yeah.
Right. But then it was also a lot of that, not in an annoying way, but a lot of that show is them training to get strong enough to do the next thing. And like,
which
you see them.
I think that's one of the strengths of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
It being like, this is an insurmountable thing. Well, no, it's not, because we're going to train until we can do it. And that's great.
Yes.
I mean, that's life.
100%. Yeah.
Journey before destination. There we go. We're back to fantasy on it as well.
There we go. It all ties together. But yeah, like seeing, like learning that lesson as a kid, right? And I was like that was just sort of instilled in me that you can do harder things. You just might have to work at it for a while, and then you can do it. But just being honest, so much of it was just like these guys look cool, and I want to look cool too.
I wish I'd hit that stage sooner. Like I'm at the stage now, where I'm like, I'm 35 years old. I want to be able to be in shape enough that when my kids have kids, I can run around with them. But I also just want to look kind of good. And I wish I'd hit that look. I want to get into shape for the sake of looking good earlier. Like if some part of my brain thought like, oh no, that's arrogant. Oh, it's like, no, it's not. It's just, it's actually really good for your mental health to be like, oh, I like how I look. That's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. And like anything, it can be taken too far, right? But like, as long as it's, as long as you don't just let it run wild, like I think it is funny enough. So like I'm in grad school, right? And I'm doing a big research project on my bodybuilding contest prep that I did here this past year. And part of what I'm doing is
really
like,
cool that you can be like, this is my big thing. This is my other big thing. Oh, hold up. Hey, time killed.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things with that research project is every week I take all these psychological questionnaires, and one of them is body image, and it's like it's exactly what you would think, right? Like before I started dieting, it was whatever the number is. It doesn't matter what the number was, but it's whatever this number. And then as I kept getting leaner, it kept improving, and I was like, my just subjective body image was improving, and it's like, it just feels good, right? Like obviously getting as lean as I did is not healthy and sustainable, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Your cheekbones were like a little bit like too much.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy, you safe?
Yeah, I'm healthier now. Everything's fine.
It was impressive. Yeah.
Thank you.
Short-term cut. Henry Cavill can do it just for The Witcher. We're good.
Yeah, I just I don't get all the special supplements like the Hollywood actors get. But
we French. Okay, right. If we're going on that, if we're bringing that up, I gotta say this, right? Sensu beans or Stormlight for recovery? What would you rather have for training?
Oh, jeez.
Not so like I'm not saying like you can take a bit of Stormlight and be able to like lift better. I'm saying for just recovery only. What would you rather have?
Trying to think this through. Because the sensu bean is like,
and do you have to? Yeah.
It's like instantaneous.
Yeah, I think
right, which is
it's
nice.
yeah.
Stormlight is because they're both kind of
that sports science. The sports science brain of yours is now just like ticking on. Just like,
it's
okay, well,
hard.
how much do you have to suffer for the adaptation to kick in as well?
Right. It's hard. Sensu Beans seems like it's faster.
Yeah.
But like if you run out,
right on
you run
track.
out.
Yeah. You're gonna have to hit up Corin again.
Exact. But I guess you can also run out of Stormlight and you'd have to go wait for the next storm or whatever.
Oh man, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to be waiting for. Yeah, that would be everything about that is just terrible.
Yeah. Ugh, man. I might. I might go with Sensu Bean. Just the only difference I can think of is like they're probably smaller than the gemstones that you'd have to store the Stormlight in. So it would take up less space in my pocket or whatever. That's the only thing I can think of. The tough questions. If chat, let us know which one is better. Do you agree with me? Or if you're watching the replay, let's take a vote.
Yeah, absolutely.
What people think.
Oh man.
Okay, so let's. I want to kind of get to the finish line of your book here, right? So you're working through editing. You're getting relatively close. You said you're 2/3 ish of the way through. When you finish that edit, is the plan is to go to beta readers after you finish this edit through?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then,
there's a few things. There's a few things in there that I want to make sure, without leading anyone, that I want to make sure don't seem jarring, because one of the downsides of doing the whole like Gardner style, Panther style writing is you might just come up with something cool and throw it in, and then when you go back and edit it, you're gonna have to I need to foreshadow all this, and that wasn't entirely what happened with mine. Like I knew it was building up to something, but when I did the something. I hate being so cagey about this. Like, I need to just finish this book so that I can be like, "Hey, Jake, let's review my book." That'd be way better.
In time.
But, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll get there. But it happens, but it happens from all three characters' perspectives, and it's huge. Like it is a massive shift in tone in the book. Like the majority of the book, you've almost got this like character journey, and then it hits this point, and it's just like. Tonal shift immediate, and I was like, I don't want this to feel overly jarring, but it needs to hit, and finding the sweet spot of that was difficult. I haven't quite gotten to that bit yet, but I think I'm on the and I finished the Andy chapter before that one. So I'm literally one chapter away from getting to that bit, and I am nervous, man. Like I've thrown in a bunch of foreshadowing for some of the bits, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to get to this and it feel jarring because it's reading back your work and trying to be objective about it is difficult, but reading back your work and trying to be objective and critical is like, oh, I'm gonna beat my soul up a little bit with this one, and I think that's one of the main things I need from my beta readers. I mean, I've got some great people for it, and I think that I feel like you're going to be really good at this because you are so you're so like prose focused, and you're so like, oh, this little thing might be important, kind of like you will pick up on that sort of stuff. So I feel like if anyone's going to be like, yeah, no, if you're like, yeah, this didn't feel like it was foreshadowed at all, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna really put some time into this again. But that's what I'm after,
Yeah.
And also, like, if you turn around and be like, yeah, I hate Lucas, I'm like, what the hell happened? Like he's the favorite. Everyone loves Lucas. What?
That's probably unlikely. Yeah, I tend to like most things.
Yeah, but, It's the other reason. Yeah, it's the other reason why I wanted you as a beta reader as well. Is like, yeah, Jake will like it. It'd be nice. It'd make me feel good.
Yeah, well, thanks, dude. I think it's funny. Like it sort of makes me think of no spoilers, but if anybody's read the first Sun Eater book, Empire of Silence, there's like a big thing that kind of comes out of nowhere. But to me, I was like, that was awesome. Like it was just so because it's surprising to the characters also, right? So like, why wouldn't it surprise me? So
Yeah.
it was, so I could see that working really well, even if it does kind of, but we
This
shall
is
see.
it. And it's give it like give me. I think I said to you to try and keep a bit of space in your TBR for February, which maybe I might just make it.
Well, that was going to
Man.
be my last thing, is if you wanted to share, any timeline goals that you had.
Oh, well, see, I was watching this podcast not long ago, and they were talking about like setting goals and stuff, and this guy with long hair was like talking about how if you do goals that are more process driven rather than finish line driven, it can be really helpful. And I'm
What a dork.
that fits how I already do it perfectly. So it was nice to have my own bias confirmed by someone.
Yes.
Shout out to Training Art Podcast. It's great. But yeah, I feel like at some point in February, I should be done with this draft. I cannot give a better answer than that, and I wish I could.
No,
I'm so desperate to start on book 2 that it's a little bit maddening. Because I've got stuff in my head, and like the whole reason I've got the whole reason it's Write a Goblin is because when I have the need to write, I feel completely feral. Like I'm like, I need to write. My brain won't shut the hell up. It will affect my sleep. It will really, really pick away at me.
Yeah.
And I keep having that, and it's driving me mad. Like it hasn't not to the point where it's interrupting my sleep, but it's like I have got these ideas of what's going to happen in the second book, and I so deeply just want to get into it.
Yeah.
So it is like having a little goblin just being like, "Come on, hurry, 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 hurry!" You know. Yeah. I can't wait, man. And the ending was really good. I think it was really good. I haven't got to it yet, but I think it was really good. When I wrote it, it was good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool, dude. So is that your plan to like jump into that while beta readers are going through the first one?
Yeah, because I think otherwise it's going to be sat with all 8 people, and I'm just going to be going crazy. Because I know what I'm like. I'm gonna be wanting to be there, hanging over your shoulder, be like, "Did you like that bit? Did you get that joke? Did you notice that that's the same guy from earlier?" Like, I want to be that guy. I want to be like a parrot on your shoulder, just staring at you while you read. So I need to distract myself, because otherwise, like, I'm gonna lose so many friends. Otherwise, I'll be like, "Hey, how is it going?"
That makes sense. That's actually. Did you watch the first new Sanderson lecture yet?
No, I haven't. I'm really tempted to binge watch them. I really wanted to talk to you about that, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. I haven't watched it yet, but I am really excited for it, because I have watched all of the other ones a crazy amount of times. I used to watch them every day on my way to work, because I used to get the train, and I started watching them, and then COVID happened, and I was a key worker, so I was still having to get the train in, and it was just me in a train carriage on my own, headphones on, watching Sanderson. And
that's cool.
Oh man, honestly, anyone out there that's like looking into writing fantasy and that needs to go watch them, just because he will give you so many tools and so many ideas, and some of them, and he openly says this, some of them aren't going to work for you, but the ones that work for you, you put them in your toolbox, you know? I mean, I think so many of us, like when we're in school and that, you get taught that you have to plan out the story and then you write the story. And that basically made me not right. That made me not right. I'm a crazy person now. I can't not write. I mean, oh God, I wrote a 2,000 word odd short story yesterday, because it was just there in my head. And I was like, well, I got to get this out of me. I'm not going to sleep otherwise.
That's so cool.
And it was bonkers. It was this guy. I'll put it up on my Instagram, so I'm happy to talk about this story in its totality right now. But it's basically this guy. It starts with this guy, this like kid, and he has killed his dad. He's killed his dad. He's clutching a hatchet in his hand, and his dad's dead body is sprawled over the table. And you have no idea as the reader what has happened up to this point. So you've got to piece together the scene from what he is thinking and his reactions to stuff. And by the end of it, he's like, he's run away. He's decided he's going to change his name. He's found like his dad's old stash of cash and stuff. But it's like, that came out of nowhere. Like, I just wrote that because my brain wouldn't stop talking about it. I mean, I'm going to, at some point when I get some time, put it up on my Instagram as one of the little scroll through ones. I'm hoping with the now slightly bigger format that'll actually help for that. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited to read that whenever you do post it, and excited for you to watch that lecture. The reason I brought it up is because it was kind of timely with the like the beta reading thing you were talking about. Usually, like, it's his first lecture, right? So he's talking about his general philosophy, and it's similar to previous years, right? He's not going to completely change all the lectures, but
I'm hyped for his publishing one, because that's going to be amazing to look. Because the fact that Sanderson is now an indie published author as well.
Yeah.
What?
Wild.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What's that about?
At the end he was talking about writing groups and like getting feedback, and how and he said this before, but it was just a good reminder again, that he was like, when you're getting feedback, stand out of the way, don't say anything, right? And just like let them experience the thing and just listen to what they say, and then you can either take or leave whatever they say, but you want that honest, genuine thoughts from the readers. So that's like, it lines up with what you're saying of like, let me go distract myself, let me work on book 2, and then we'll circle back and see what's up.
And it also goes back to what I was saying about like taste. Like, if I like that short that I mentioned there, where like, the kids killed his dad with a hatchet and stuff. Someone might hear that and be like, I don't want to read that. That's not of my interest whatsoever. But then they might see like one of the other like another story or something that I've done and go like, oh, this is cool though. I like this one about like the trying to remember ones that I've done. Oh, I like this one about like the weird bottle with human finger bones in it that's got like a ghost tied into it. It's like, I like ghost stories. I don't know this guy with a hatchet though. That's weird. Yeah, that's fine. And like when you like when someone's reading your work and giving you feedback to it about it, they can have negative opinions that you don't agree with. Like, you might say, like, for instance, so if you read when you're doing the beta feedback for my story, if you read it and you're like, I really like this, but this just didn't hit for me, or this felt kind of clunky, someone else might read that and be like, do you know what? I really like the gambling scene. It really pulled me in. You might be like, I fucking hate gambling. I'm not a fan of that. Take your cards and go away.
For sure. Yeah. Totally.
And it's all part of the process. And you say about like writing groups, like, I'm not in one. I've nearly been in a few. I will at some point join one with my friend Evan that did Scion, and our friend John Franz. Like, I definitely want to join a writing group with those guys. Yeah. But I just how can I drop this 200,000 word monster on someone? I can chapter by chapter as I'm writing something. That's fair enough, but not like, hey, read this giant thing.
Yeah.
It's psychotic. I can't do that to people I like.
Really quick, what's up, Chris? Thank you for dropping by, sir. We were talking about Will was in your stream earlier, and now you're in our stream.
Yeah.
What is life
on us now?
Crazy.
Oh, he wasn't here for the face merger thing.
Oh, that's true. He's just gonna have to watch the replay and see. We mentioned something.
Yeah, Chris, you're gonna have to watch this one back, buddy, because you missed something important and weird.
And this is cool that Slate's talking about being inspired now to get more into short stories. That's awesome.
I got inspired by one of the people I interact with a lot on Instagram, Naomi. She was putting up flash fictions. I'd never heard of flash fiction before. I was like, this sounds cool. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to start doing it was because every single writer out there, and I'm going to say this, like, this is an absolute yes, this is true. Every single writer out there has started more stories than they finished, and they've gotten to the middle of more stories than they've finished as well. Endings are something that you're going to practice the absolute least once you start out as a writer. Even at the end of your career as a writer, you will have done less endings than you have beginnings. Writing short stories is a good way to teach yourself how to tie up stories. Like, even if you've only got like 1,000, if you've got 1,000 words, that's a really restrictive word count. You're not going to tell a giant story in that, but you still want to bring it to a satisfying conclusion. and that's difficult. It's really hard to bring it to do an ending. Wind and Truth. Sometimes it just doesn't work out great. I can't say that. I DNF'd it. I can't.
I was gonna say, the guy who didn't finish.
Yeah. Well, I will at some point. I felt like I said, I messaged you the day that I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to listen. I'm going to start on John Gwynn. I told you, I feel like I'm cheating on Kaladin. I'm not down in the chasms with him anymore, man. I'm not.
That's all right. He'll be there. He'll be there waiting. It's okay.
Yeah. Journey before destination. Mine's just got a few twists in it. It's fine. But I think short stories are a really good tool to use to polish not just your writing style, but also give you that little bit of practice towards doing endings and stuff. And they're fun. There's so little pressure. I mean, it's probably not a good idea that I do these short stories and chuck them up on my Instagram. But like I said, like I do these 1,000 to 1,500 word short stories, and they are just stream of consciousness, minimal editing, and then I put them together. Together on Canva, and I put them on my Instagram page. I have caught spelling errors afterwards and all that sort of thing, but I'm happy with how the story goes.
Yeah.
And it's just me practicing. It's just me having fun. It's not. I would hope that no one is reading those and being like, "Is this how this guy's book's going to be?" I really hope not. Like, I hope no one is reading those and being like, "You've done 200,000 words of this. You should get it." Talking myself out of it now. Maybe I shouldn't do short stories.
No, I think it's great, man. Because I think, like you said, it's good practice for you, right? Which is just good, but it's also, it gives people, if nothing else, it gives people insight into like what things interest you, like what your style is. They just see content from you, right? And like, so it sort of also can be this marketing thing, like not in a cheesy way, but like,
no, totally.
It's just getting your name out there more.
Well, that was one of the reasons. That was the other reason that I chose to start the Instagram page. Like part of it was me being like, okay, I want to start tracking what I'm doing. But the other part of it was there's the amazing interview with Daniel Green and Evan Winters, Rage of Dragons author.
Yeah.
Great. But he talks about how Instagram was one of the best sources of just eyeballs on his book as far as that goes. And I was like, well, Instagram's the one I'm going to go to. And also I can't do Facebook. I hate Facebook. I really, really struggle with it. I've got it, but I really don't use it. I can't do Twitter because I get distracted. There's too many buts. There's too many buts. But Instagram's fine. I can deal with Instagram's stuff without getting overly distracted by the butts. Yeah. But then also Goblin, it's fine. I can say weird stuff, but it's just Instagram just seemed to be the one to go to. So that's the like ever so slight business side of my brain being like, well, if I'm going to build a brand, that's the one I'm going to want to build it on.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great. Right? Yeah, and the Bookstagram community has been so friendly and so nice. I mean, Slay comments on my stuff a lot. Shelf Singularity is another one that's really great, and it's just a lot of these people. Yeah, and everyone's just so chatty and nice and friendly. And like we said before, like it's just, how is there an online community that's wholesome and nice and not full of crazy people? Or maybe it is full of crazy people, but they're good. They're good kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I made that exact joke in the British Fantasy Society Discord, and I was just saying, just like, we are all really weird, right? And they all agreed.
I mean, how can you argue, right? Yeah.
Paid membership to talk about imaginary things. Yeah, we're weird. We are weird people to have even signed up to that idea.
Oh man.
So we're about to hit the hour and a half mark.
I was just gonna say, I unfortunately do have some more work I gotta get done here today. But before we go,
busy man.
I want to make sure. Yes, I'm trying. Before we go, I want to give you the floor to talk about whatever you want to. If you want to plug anything, you want to just throw anything out, you want to make a awkward dad joke, whatever you want to do, bro.
I am a stepdad. I can do those. No, I honestly, I would encourage everyone who wants to write, whether it's yourself, whether it's Slay or anyone else, I would encourage you to start writing. there's no rules to it. You can write the most unhinged, crazy thing you can possibly think of, and it will be great. There have been amazing writers who did that. Terry Pratchett, absolutely bonkers writing. Just do it. Just do it. Shia LaBeouf style. Just do it. Just start writing. Have fun with it. And also go follow my Instagram page, Will McWriter Goblin, because I will be a cheerleader. I am that guy. I get really, really excited when I see this sort of stuff. And yeah, just keep being the awesome, lovely community you are. And also, Jake, you specifically, when you have time to write, definitely do it, buddy.
Yeah. I need to. Okay? I need to.
With the influences you have, I will enjoy what you create.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited. I
guarantee you there will be an audience.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
Yeah, that means a lot to me. I want to do it so bad, dude. And it's like it's literally is just a logistical time in the day thing that we just there is time there, right? I just gotta
there might but
carve it out.
You also don't want to burn yourself out. The fact that you do so much of your reading while also doing cardio means you're already double stacking the things that you have to do. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like you are a really busy guy. So at the same time as I'm saying, definitely start writing. Don't break yourself for the sake of it. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
I can't think of anything I want to promote other than just go look at my page. You know, go next time you want to doom scroll, go on Will McWriter Goblin's Instagram page and just go through. I've got some stories on there. At some point there'll be a book, but like for now,
at some point,
you know, just wait.
Yeah, we'll get there. The book's gonna be awesome.
Well. That's
if anyone is interested, the training arc thing that we've joked about a little bit is a different. So I work in the fitness industry, right? So me and my friend Colby,
we can tell. Look at your shoulders.
You know what's hilarious? I have so many people that are just like, "What do you like? You did a bodybuilding show? Like you're small. Like what's going on?" And I'm like, "That's how it goes."
Like that. Someone said that. Oh,
people have said that to me before, which is fine. I know I'm not the most gigantic dude ever.
Maybe specifically say natural bodybuilding show.
Yeah, that's
like, oh right, you're not. That's why you're not a house.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
You haven't popping them sensu beans.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, the training arc is like a podcast that me and my friend Colby do for like fitness stuff. That we try to keep it pretty like easy listen is kind of the goal.
It's very wholesome. It's very wholesome.
Yeah, we try. And it's called the training arc because that is an anime reference, right? There's a training arc in so many anime, manga, and whatever, but it's also fitting for lifting weights training, right? So, anyway,
there is something absolutely hilarious about it as well because I'm carrying on blowing up your stuff here, but like on Jake's side, you've got like, you know, trophy, giant medal, this stuff, and then on Kobe's side, you've just got like anime nerd bedroom, like picture anime nerd bedroom. That's Kobe's setup.
His room is so chaotic.
So on brand.
It is.
Dude, I love the fact that it'll be like, oh, we're talking about this sports science stuff. By the way, RuneScape. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but like everyone who is into sports science, dude, you're just a nerd that got jacked. 100%. You're just a statistics when those dumbbells have numbers on them. I like that thing too.
Yeah,
that's 100% on there.
It's absolutely, and almost all of us grew up watching Dragon Ball Z and wanted to be huge.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah. Everyone who's into MMA or bodybuilding, all of them were just like, you know, oh no, there's that one, there's that one bodybuilder, and he directly is just like, oh, I grew up, I watched Berserk and Guts was jacked, so I wanted to be jacked. I can't remember his name, but he's.
Okay. Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, everyone should go right. I'm gonna let you go now because otherwise I'm just gonna keep talking. I don't shut up.
I love it, man. Thank you once again, dude, for coming on here and talking to me. This is super. We could talk forever, right?
This is the problem. Like, nothing else will get accomplished. I'll never write a book, and you will fail your PhD. And you'll never be a doctor.
We can't let those things happen.
No. Kobe can't be the only one on that podcast with a doctorate, you know.
Yeah, he's already done. He's good. He can chill. But yeah, in the chat, thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. Leave some comments. Talk to us down there.
And Triple B, you have to watch the replay because you have to know what we're talking about.
And Chance
Yeah.
needs to hear all the wild insults that we
Oh, dude, yeah, we talked so much smack. Who plays a
All right.
bard?
All right, guys. We'll see you. Thank you.